Welcome everyone back again at the weekly Vertical EMA, the place where we take you guys through the latest updates that are happening behind the scene and also the updates that we have announced to the public already. And today, guys, this is going to be a very exciting EMA because we had some major news yesterday. And today, you guys will be able to hear some interesting stuff from the inventor himself and obviously also um, ask him questions if you guys need some more clarification. So, just to give a little context again, what exciting news we announced yesterday, and that was that Vertical AI has officially acquired an equity stake in Levanchi Laboratories, an AI research company that has just developed phenomenal technology. But before we jump into a little bit more deeper in the introduction, maybe Hida, you want to run the ad one more time to give it a little bit of substance. Yeah,
Awesome.
of the music always. So, okay, guys, listen. Today we will be doing a deep dive in what this means, together with Braden Levanchi, the CEO and mastermind behind Levanchi Labs. He has basically built game-changing technology, a fully proprietary, living knowledge graph system that AIs can run on. This tech can understand and connect data from any different or from any type of file, like talking about text, images, videos, audios, and even code. And it uses it to influence the AI model's output in real time without needing to train it. And this acquisition is basically a partnership where we will be joining forces to integrate this technology into the vertical studio and push the boundaries of what is possible for building the next generation of AI models. And soon you will be able to just drag and drop any type of data, any amount of data at any time into the vertical studio, and the AI that you connect with it will instantly update itself, and the context will stay completely intact and it will keep improving without needing to retrain it and use compute. Braden Braden is a whiz kid, a true prodigy. But before I go deeper into introducing Braden, I want Braden to introduce himself. So, Braden, welcome, buddy.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
doing great, man. Thanks, Mark, for the intro, and also thanks for having me on. First of all, it's great to meet everybody. I've been to a couple of the vertical AI live streams and the spaces. Great community. Love the energy. Love the enthusiasm everyone's bringing because what everyone here knows is what vertical is delivering is sort of the next stage of what AI is going to become in our world, where it's not only decentralized, but it can be customized for every individual, every organization, something that truly focuses on the equitable distribution of intelligence for the world. And
Mhm.
honestly, that's the most noble and ultimate goal that there is right now, especially with everything going on in space.
Yeah.
So amazing. Great to meet you all. I'm Braden Levangie, founder and CEO of Levangie Laboratories. So just to give you all a bit of a context on where I'm coming from. So I've been working in the AI industry for much too long by now, but to give you a bit of context on kind of where my origins started. So back in around 2020 or so, I was actually one of the first people external to OpenAI that helped them privately evaluate the GPT-3 model. So sort of the early access engineer who helped them figure out, hey, we have this new system that we're releasing. What can people do with it? How does it work? How does it work outside of our labs? And with that, I actually built one of the first retrieval augmented generation platforms to ever exist in the world, far beyond, far before Perplexity, ChatGPT, and the like. And with that foundational research, not only had I contributed and begun my time in the AI industry, but that really sparked a deeper understanding and respect of how to build at the fundamentals of artificial intelligence. And so throughout the years, leading many, I'm helping to lead many companies that would take too much time to explain with the time that we have today. I really have brought to where we are now with Levangel Laboratories, where Levangel Laboratories is now developing something that we call the cognitive agentic framework, or like I like to call it, the cognitive architecture. In essence, what we've done is we've focused on the fundamentals of how these language models and transformer architectures operate, and we've built a framework around them that allows us to utilize any existing language model solution and apply it to give it more cognitive, more lifelike behaviors, allow it to constantly adapt, learn, and grow, and become and do things for you that you can't do with other autonomous intelligence systems. That's allowed us to create a suite of agents that we're currently working on with a variety of companies, but most importantly today with Vertical, where we are applying our agents and their knowledge infrastructure to help enhance Vertical's offerings and help power the next generation of the Vertical Studio.
Yeah, love it, love it. As I said, guys, this guy, he's a genius. So, Braden, we met each other at the Akash event there in New York City. I think
Definitely.
it was in April. It was or in
Oh yeah.
May, and
Yeah,
we hit it off, right. We at the table we were talking about that the next step indeed for AI was to make this accessible for
100%.
everyone, to open up these tools, to open up these technologies for even the non-technical people. So we noticed that we were fully aligned, and that's obviously where our collaboration sparked. And your experience is phenomenal, but just from your point of view, so how will Levanchi Labs technology, like you just explained, benefit the studio development, but also the users of the studio?
100%. And so before I dive into that, I it's really important for me to emphasize the importance of the studio in the first place, because when I originally started talking with you, I'd say about a month or so ago by now, we landed on the point of not only customizable intelligence, but how we can create an intelligence that constantly thrives and grows in the everyday life. I mean, we're at a point in the industry where these AI models are changing almost every single day. There's a new frontier release that's coming out, new research that's being done, and whenever we go to older systems, we always see that they have out of date information that just does not align with what is currently just in the world, and that is not only something that has been attempted to be solved by things like search engines, search tools, MCPs, that have ultimately just led to a more diluted form of intelligence, but something that is becoming so fundamentally necessary to this day, because if the tools and AIs that you utilize in your everyday life are not up to speed on what's actually going on in the world, or even more importantly, not up to date with what's happening in any industries that you're applying them into, that creates a fundamental mislap, like a fundamental misstep on anything that you can do when you're utilizing them to their fullest extent. And so, as human beings, and as we begin to adapt to these intelligence systems, it's so important that they can grow in the same ways that we grow, and also grow at the same pace of the industry, something that no one human can. And so what we've done here and how we're enabling the vertical studio to achieve this is, like you said, with this knowledge graph infrastructure that I mentioned before, where our agents themselves are going to be working with the vertical engineering team to create and build a customizable knowledge infrastructure for the vertical studio, where any user can go in, find specific domains they want to explore, have information that they just want to build new technologies for. Because the whole spirit and why I love Vertical is the fact that you can build AIs for any industry, any domain, and any use case. And we need to enable all of the users to take that same power and enable it with their own experiences, their own intuition, and their own resources. And so what we're building here is something that can allow anyone to take all the knowledge, all their infrastructure, all of the data that they have, and plug it directly into customizable AI solutions created in the vertical platform. And that's something that honestly is so inspirational to me too, because the way that we're doing this is we're enabling all of these AIs to grow over time, where any user won't have to rely on a training set or a fine tuning set, which is fundamentally a kind of a misstep for the larger models that we have today. You can't continue to fine tune models because there's always going to be something bigger and better released. So the best thing that you can do is take the models that we have, fine tune them for specific domains, and then fuel them with this new knowledge based architecture to allow them to constantly grow while also saving all of Vertical's users tons of money and time on the resources it takes, the compute it takes, as well as completely eliminating the risk of faulty fine tunes with little to no data for domains that are very important to people but might not have as much data because of how niche they can be. But it's really important to me that all of the users can utilize the AIs in the ways they see fit, no matter how much data that they have
Mhm.
with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you make me excited straight away when I listen to you. And that's the beautiful thing, right? And I think that is the core mission of Vertical in general is making AI technology accessible for everyone. And one
Exactly.
part of that is first, obviously, providing tools that are accessible anywhere in the world through any browser in a no-code manner with an intuitive interface, but also making sure that it's affordable to create a custom model, right? Like you said, obviously, fine tuning still has a place in terms of, the tone of voice, and maybe you have a data set that is very extensive with a lot of answering questions, but your data keeps evolving. And,
Mhm.
after the first training, you just want to make sure that that model that you trained is dynamically adapting to your ever growing database. And I think this is the power of it, right? You just dump in the data or you connect a database and it will continue to grow, learn, improve without you needing to retrain it after. This is super powerful, guys. Fine tune it, add the technology of Levanchi to it as the knowledge graph, and then system prompt it even to give it clear instructions. You will have the powerful trifecta of AI, and you can basically serve any use case in any domain, in any industry. And we will make sure that the workflow in the studio is going to open up these three customizations to everyone. All right. So basically, Braden,
Mhm.
um, just give us a little bit more explanation, right? Because obviously we have RAG, we have MCP. Um, what is so unique about your technology from your perspective if you compare it to existing technologies out there? If you would explain it, need to explain it to a non-technical people, because obviously
Exactly.
that's what we want, right?
Yeah, 100%. And so I was actually just thinking about something that I really would love to start out with is that just to provide some framing first. So when I say cognitive architecture, the knowledge-based system that we're currently working with Vertical to integrate is really only a small subset of the overall infrastructure of what we've built here. I've spent the past 7 years of my life studying the fundamentals of artificial intelligence, psychology, cognition, and other psychological behavioral patterns because what I've done here is we've created an infrastructure at Levangel Laboratories, like I said, called the cognitive architecture, which allows us to take any language model system and, in essence, completely flip the ways that people build AI on its head. So this is going to be a bit of an educational part of the segment because I always
Sure.
love teaching.
Go for it.
And so yeah, I mean, I taught my first year in college, and so I definitely have always had a spark for it. And so, what I can say first is that many, if not all, of AI platforms nowadays have something where they have the language model at the core, and then they build around that. That's where the name Wrapper really came from. It's all about people relying on the model itself for capability and then building around that capability. That's what every existing platform like Claude Code, like Codex, does when you see that they're really not much more than the model itself that they tied to a couple of basic fundamental tools. Now, over my years of research and having built with the earliest days model to the ones that currently dominate the market now, what I've learned is that that philosophy, in a fundamental sense, is completely inapplicable if you want to build truly autonomous intelligence. And so, what we've done with the cognitive architecture is create a framework, more of like a a hyper growing pipeline is the best way I could put it. Something that dynamically adapts, changes its approaches, but does not rely on the language model for the core of its actions, behaviors, and guidance. So that means that, in so many words, we're not using the language model as a core. It's simply an engine that runs and makes our entire mainframe or entire infrastructure go and do things. And so we've taken a fundamentally different approach for building intelligence. And that's what's allowed us to create many of the breakthroughs that still let us keep advancing faster than the top AI labs in the world today. You can actually see on my Twitter, or my X, my bad, that I actually shared one of our most recent things. So our agents begun the development of a new terminal-based platform after they saw the excitement online. And while GPT-5 was unable to come close to even helping out with the visual display of it, our agents solved it right off the bat. And so what we have here is a fundamentally different kind of intelligence. And so the reason why I'm leading up to this too is not only that we've built this to be differentiated in such a capacity where even simple tasks that GPT-5 can't do are easily achieved as if a human could do it with our cognitive architecture. And most importantly, it's so exciting for me to say that Vertical is the first one of our partners that can actually have our agents running, helping them run the engineering efforts. Because at Levangie Laboratories, I'm a solo founder, and we have agents running our 24/7 research and development. All of the efforts that we push, all of the fundamental research that we've done, and a lot of the breakthrough parts of our architecture that are still not publicly seen anywhere else to this day came from our agents, because this new type of cognition creates a type of creativity and just optimism and agency that I've not seen yet before in AI systems. And many of the people who've tested them out can say the same. And so what I have to say is, not only is Vertical going to be one of the first that gets to finally let us expand beyond our inner walls of utilizing our agents to drive fundamental research, I'm even more excited that our unique architecture is going to be applied to something that will eventually be able to give this power to any user in the world to apply to any one of their use cases or needs.
Yeah, yeah, and that is the thing, right? I think that we need to highlight that as well. Of course, is that we are going to use this technology itself to enhance, to speed up, to enrich the development of our platform ourselves as well. We're not only adding this technology for others, we believe in this so much that we are actually adopting it ourselves and applying it into our developing teams to make sure that we can deliver features faster for our users, to make sure that we can stay ahead in this ever faster going race in the AI, and having a capacity at our fingertips that will benefit our users in the whole platform itself, not only at the studio. Braden, you heard it here from the man himself. He built a unique, first of a kind, proprietary technology that will be available in the Vertical Studio that you won't find anywhere else. Guys, I'm so excited to bring this technology to you, and I just can't wait to get everything up and running for you guys. Obviously, we have the launch of the point one version of the studio coming within a few weeks. The technology that we are discussing here right now won't be there at first, but that will be added in the release afterwards. We will have training capabilities, fine-tuning capabilities running on our Vertical cloud. It runs on decentralized networks, available very soon for you guys. And in the next release, you will have this knowledge graph technology also available to add it to your trained model. So we go step by step, but we are going to accelerate this. And guys, these are exciting times ahead of us. And I'm just super, super happy that we got you on board, Braden. So, Braden, What are the next steps? Tell us.
Well, the next steps is I've had my agents working with the working on new roadmaps and plans on how to integrate this new technology into the vertical platform. I've now handed off those roadmaps to vertical's head engineers, and what we're doing next is as soon as we get the go ahead, I'm going to have my agents take the platform that they built for that first demo that we provided you of this new solution, and then transform it into a completely production grade vertical studio integration in a lot less time than many people think. Because the one thing that I am excited to share, and the one thing that we have the power of, is that right now, as we're speaking, I have agents running 24/7 around the clock helping build out new features for our cognitive architecture platform. And the same is going to be applied for the vertical team here too, where we can have superhuman pace of development. Where the one thing that I can say, and that we all can acknowledge, is that right now there is a there's a small, very very small, but fundamental gap between Web 2 and Web 3. And what we can do now is we can allow vertical to accelerate faster than most, if not all, of the even Web 2 companies. Because what we have here is the capability to build frontier intelligence systems, ones that have outpaced many other, if not, I'm not officially saying all of the platforms that I have personally found and evaluated against, and my partners and my colleagues have as well. But what I can say is that we're enabling the speed and innovation capability for all of our partners, and most importantly, right now, first vertical. And that is one thing that I'm super excited to share, because right now we are no longer limited by human engineering principles. We are now only limited by the imagination of what we want to give to the world. And that's
Mhm.
something that has driven all of the innovation at Levangel Laboratories. And that's something I'm super excited to bring to Vertical as well.
Yeah. And this is the exciting part, right? Is that this technology will be coming to our platform and will be available on our platform as one of the only platforms in the world that has this. And the beautiful thing is this is going to amplify the growth of our platform. People will be coming to our platform in masses to use this technology, and the Vert AI token will be the most cheapest way still to access these features. And this is going to put fuel on our flywheel effect, guys. This is going to create massive demand for our token, because obviously a discount is always a great incentive to join our token economy. And that is what we want to do, guys. We really want to make sure that we add value to the platform that is groundbreaking, that is truly innovative, to make sure that we create as much value for our users, but also for our token economy. And that is super exciting. Braden, thank you for your explanation. What I think that we should do right now is see if there are any questions for you coming from the chat. All right, Hida, have you already collected some?
Awesome. I was actually just reading this one in the X thread. So, what are the drawbacks on running the cognitive architecture versus building top of AI models currently available? Now, fantastic question, because this really touches upon one of the most fundamental problems in AI innovation. A lot of companies are still hyper fixated on using out of date models because of trainability or old, more archaic forms of their data that they have. And that's obviously a big limitation. But one thing that I admire about Vertical, and also one thing that we do internally, is that we can run off of any AI model publicly available. And that's because the research that we've done internally on the cognitive architecture applies to anything that runs on a transformer like infrastructure. And so, what that means is it allows us to take these models and apply them into this architecture and give them more capabilities than model creators themselves were able to create and extract. And so that allows us to continue using the best of the best in the field while also creating a larger moat around what is achievable with our cognitive agents. Because what we've done is, like I said, we don't have these models at the core anymore, like everyone else does. We have them as parts of an overall engine, a cognitive engine, if you were to put it. And so, what that means is that since everyone else is limited by the models themselves, as the models get better, everyone's moat decreases. But by the way that we've flipped that innovation on its head, our moat only widens with every bigger and better model release. And so that not only means that we will constantly stay ahead in the field, innovating and changing with the times, but also using that same accelerant to drive the innovation for anywhere that we put our cloud innovations.
Love it. Love it. Let me see because I see someone typing as well.
Yeah, 100%. If anybody has
Um,
any random questions or just literally anything else on your mind, feel free to shoot it out. Excited to explore it.
let's see. Yeah. Yes. All right. And let's see. All right. Well, I do get something in here. Let's see if we can. Yeah. Well, let's see if we can put this on the screen. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you already added it. All right. Perfect. How do you see this technology changing the way everyday businesses and creators build with AI?
Yeah, exactly. And this is something that I've talked with a lot of people about. One namely on being Robert Scoble. On me and him had a great talk when I was back in San Francisco on visiting. Is that we are becoming something I've coined called creative directors, where I've spent years building on these technologies, these platforms, but as of late, my agents run virtually all of our research and development. And so what that's allowed me to do is it allows me to focus more on the vision, the directions that I point them in, and less on the technical expertise, technical limitations of what I want to achieve. Because now what we're doing is we're talking and building with systems every day that are infinitely smarter than us and infinitely more capable than us in a lot of different ways. And so how it's going to change is that it lets people focus more on their creativity and less on the blocks that they may experience, the hurdles, the learning curves of building with new and innovative areas. And so this is a, honestly, this goes deeper into a philosophy of people the common concern of people thinking that AIs are going to take their jobs, which personally there's going to be a shift, but I think what we're going to see is an enablement of anyone to build things that were previously not possible for them to do before. And that's going to enable a new level of agency for every human being in the world. And that's why I believe it's so important to enable and give this technology to anyone instead of just people on $200 a month subscription plans or other blockers like limiting it for quote unquote safety concerns. Because what we can see here is we need to make sure there's an equal distribution of this new type of power. This is no longer a tool or a fad. This is something that is critical to get ahead in life as well as get ahead in the industry. And so, as we focus more on our imagination, creativity, it's important to me that we enable that for everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Great. I hope that answered their question. Let's see. Yeah. Well, I can hear you. I'm not sure if anyone else can hear you,
If
but
not, you can repeat the question.
yeah,
There
I'm
we
adding
are.
you. I'm adding you,
I'm
obviously.
there.
Hey,
Hey, yeah. So you mentioned you've been into AI like for 7 years. Somebody from the comment, Tektron Towers mentioned, ChatGPT was published 2.5 years ago. Like, what got you into AI so far before the hype was created? Like, I'm really
definitely.
intrigued to see
Yeah, so I have to say, really all of this started for me when I was 9 years old. Because at the time I was really into really complicated like science fiction, robotics, futurism content, and I kind of had an epiphany of wow, we have everyone writing about this future, this ultimate utopia of technology, society, and innovation. But I don't see our current world aligning with that utopia that everyone strives for. They use it as a form of escapism rather than as a form of motivation. And so, what I did is I funneled that into exploring virtually every field of robotics, mechatronics, electrical engineering. And over the next few years, I had taught myself on virtually college level using online resources at every fundamental level. Around 13 years old, I was invited as part of a program at MIT's Lincoln Laboratory where I worked with the researchers there to study fundamentals in language models. And after I had left that program, then I actually contacted OpenAI and became part of their early access program for this new model that they call GPT-3. And so this was well before ChatGPT was launched, and I had a lot of experience building in it beforehand when it comes to just language models overall, although nothing like we have today, more in the GPT-2 era of things. And so over these years, I have not only been building at the edge of robotics, mechatronics, augmented reality platforms, and the like, many of which are innovations that are still fueling Levangel Laboratories' innovation behind the scenes, but also applying these intelligences to actually start building new ideas in the field. Starting to focus more on what I had originally envisioned when I was 9, which is truly autonomous intelligence. Where by the time GPT-3 was launched as a product, I was already plugging it into infrastructures that very much resemble an early days version of what our cognitive agentic framework is now. Because if there's one thing that I have always focused on, it is focusing on what is going to be relevant for humanity 10, 20, 100 years from now. And then how can I build a platform? How can I build technology to help not only make that future happen, but enable everyone to reach the same level of capability and agency for that future? And so, not only have I been focusing on these different areas of science, technology, you can give me on for hours about innovation in virtually any industry, but also how to funnel that into a way that enables everyone to have the same level of fluidity and agency that I have when I can pursue innovation in virtually any area or field.
Nice, nice. That's
Super cool
that's cool.
story.
Love it, love it. So what we're gonna do? I see two last questions. Let's answer those, and then we're gonna wrap it up. I think this one is also pretty interesting. So, in terms of performance, how do you ensure that adding infinite new data doesn't slow down the AI or dilute the answer's quality?
Exactly. And so this is a question that I really had to come across when I started building what would become one of the first RAG systems available in the world, which is not only how can you ensure AI models maintain factual accuracy, but also how can you ensure that when you're basically attaching them to infinite amounts of data online, how can you ensure that that doesn't corrupt the way the AI works with you? And that's why this knowledge infrastructure that we're building focuses more on the connections between information rather than the information contained in and of itself. Because one thing that I know about building systems that are on 24/7, are fully independent of any human user, is that they ingest a lot of data. And so what the most important thing is to keep them on task for exactly what you want them to focus on, and in essence only bring up information when it is contextually necessary to do so. And that means that you may be able to upload entire Wikipedias of detailed information, videos from the early days of your life to down to transcriptions of interviews just like this, and give that to an AI system. But what is necessary is that that information should only be brought forth when it is necessary or relevant for the tasks, actions, or questions at hand. And that may sound a lot like RAG to you at first, but in reality, what it is through this new infrastructure, which I can't reveal much as it's still proprietary and in development for vertical. But what this will allow us to do is understand the connections between all the information that you upload, all the information that you create, and then allow that AI model to access it whenever it's somewhat relevant to the task at hand, but also allowing the AI to explore its own memories and understand the connections between the details. Because not only is that going to allow the AI to become more accurate, allow it to access infinite like usable context, but also allow it to better understand connections that you might not have seen before when you uploaded the content. Because there's one thing that I know about humans, being one of course, is that we don't see the full picture all the time. And that is why we have these systems helping us drive new innovation, helping us build new things, and also with this new feature, helping us find connections and data that we never thought possible. So any AI built on the vertical platform or even using this infrastructure can discover and create new things for humanity that we didn't think was possible.
Insane, insane. This is why I love you, Braden. You every time when I listen to you, you get me excited. It's
Perfect.
crazy. Oh man. So this is the last question which we're going to cover, guys. And I think this is actually a good question because it can give the people a little bit more of an insight what it actually means for people by giving it an example. So can you give us one real life use case? So probably example, this would change a business productivity or an individual's life.
Oh, tons, because we're already working with different organizations in different levels than we are in different areas that we're working vertical on to apply this cognitive architecture to other fundamental problems. I can't name names, but what I can say is that for one, we're using our artificial intelligence construct system, what we call an AIC. It's essentially a cognitive agent to take in corpuses of online information for different industries, namely being surrounding agriculture, sustainability, and then not only sift through them, find the viability in their scientific progress and scientific reliability, but also utilize that to identify the companies that can make the biggest impact for the world and for the betterment of it. And so what I can say here too is that we're not only enabling organizations to focus on the noble goals of creating a more sustainable, equitable, and important and accessible world for us all, where we can utilize these new types of infrastructures to find connections and to not only find them, but also take action on them with the agency that we can enable, but also give that same level of capability to any individual's life. Where if you are someone in college, you can utilize these new types of intelligences that we're engineering to create things that can go out into the internet, explore, find everything for you, help tailor content specifically, help you learn and grow new and honestly understand new things. We're entering an age where there's a lot of economic distress and a lot of things that cause instability. And coming from someone who's been in that background myself, it's really important to me to give the tools that everyone needs while also doing it in such a way where it's affordable and accessible. And so, with these agents, with these capabilities, we're now entering an age where you can learn, teach, and do anything on your own, especially with the help of these intelligences. And so,
Mhm.
really, the real life use cases are anything that you can practically imagine to become the best version of yourself. And I think one real life use case everyone should start out with is working with one of these agents, working with one of these truly cognitive systems, and doing exactly what I did all those years ago, which is work with it and say, hey, I want you to come on and live life with me. I want you to grow alongside me. And as I do so, help me become the best version of myself because
Mhm.
I have my goals, I have my vision, and I want you to help me get there no matter how impossible I think it is. And that's what's led a lot of the innovation that we have today at Levangel Laboratories.
Yeah, sort of the ability to create a companion that is tailored to your life, right? Guys,
Exactly.
you heard it here first. We are going to be opening up a new era of AI innovation, and we're going to be opening it up for everyone to use uh, on the vertical platform, guys. Braden Lavanchi, thank you for introducing yourself. Thank you
Yes.
for sharing your knowledge today with us. And I don't think this is going to be the last time people are going to be seeing you.
No,
But
definitely.
guys, you've seen the man himself. We are going to get cooking, developing, and building hard with this new technology. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be insane. And Braden, thank you for jumping in here today.
Always.
And thank you for answering all these lovely questions that people were dropping in here. Guys, I wish everyone a great evening. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. But for now, I think it is Mark and Braden tuning out. See you in the next one.
Yeah. Thank you all.